Hello.
Hi,
Kayla Lords
John Brownstone.
of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. We're back from a long-ish break of answering questions, and we're back to answer questions again because we got some and we still want more. So let me just say early, hey, if you've got a question, link down below, submit. I just told kinksters to submit. Woo! That felt uncomfortable. I am submissive to my core. That felt uncomfortable. But it was also kind of a rush, so I don't know. It was weird. That's not what we're here about. No. We're here actually to talk about switching, which I have zero experience, so this one will be good. Okay, let's get into the question.
Okay.
My husband and I met through FetLife in 2021 when I was a dominatrix and participated in scenes with myself as the dominant and my now husband as my submissive. In 2023, we shifted our dynamic and he has discovered a love for being a daddy dom with me, taking the role as a submissive. I love the sexual aspect of our relationship. We attend a local club and scene together and do scenes at home. However, I miss the lifestyle aspect of our relationship, the service and the honorifics specifically. This is where it gets tricky. I want the lifestyle as a dominant and the scenes as a submissive. How do I work out a way to bring this up to my partner? I feel quite shitty about this because it feels like I'm using him to vent, though I know logically this isn't the case. So I don't think you should feel shitty for what you want.
No, absolutely not.
And depending, the way this is written makes me think, okay, when you're in dom mode, you're working out some energy of a specific kind. Mm-hmm. That's okay as long as your partner understands what's happening and consents to it.
Right.
How do you talk to your partner? You just say, hey, can we have a conversation? Right. I mean, it's as simple and as not simple as that.
I know it's simple, and yet it's the hardest thing, taking that first step. Mm-hmm, I understand it, but like you asked us the question, you wrote, pretty much what you said right there. What you need to sit down and talk with your partner about, and that's kind of the key. Short answer: communication.
Right.
They are not going to know what you feel and what you want unless you sit down and talk to them about it.
Right. And I also think unless your partner told you at some point between 2023 and now that they will never submit again, clearly they enjoyed it for a time for a reason.
Right.
So having the conversation to say, hey, I love what we have now. Here's where I would love to focus that energy, but here's what I also need. You might find your partner's like, yeah, I've been missing that too, or yeah, I feel like I need some of that too. You might not, by the time the discussion's done, and the discussion might take several discussions to sort of figure out, you might not at the end of that end up with what the picture in your head is, but you might come closer to getting both sides of your kink self, giving both sides like room to breathe and to have those experiences again.
I mean, from what they described in their question and about their relationship, it seems like they've already kind of got the switch thing down a little bit.
You went from one to another in a space of 2 years, so clearly conversations had to happen.
Right. So there obviously something that went on there. With the conversations to get those two different dynamics going. So, it's going to be the same thing here. It just need to be talked about it. Express your feelings and tell them what you want.
And then listen to the response. Again, the thing about negotiation, we always say it's just another word for communication, and it is, but there is a back and forth. There's this is my idealized version of the thing I would like, and then your partner gets the opportunity to go, I can do this, I don't want to do that, let me think about it, here's what I would like. I do find that sometimes partners are surprised when they, air quote, confess a desire to their partner, because in a solid, healthy relationship, especially in a situation where you went from one dynamic to the next, again, unless your partner said in no uncertain terms they never want that again, you will likely be surprised at their response. Again, it might not be an immediate, oh, hell yeah, let's do this, let's figure it out. But at the minimum, what you need is let me think about that. That's intriguing. Or, yeah, there's some things I've been missing from that dynamic. Before you have whatever conversation is going to be the nuts and bolts of what you're trying to achieve. So I think the first conversation is, hey, here's how I've been feeling. Here's some things I miss. Here's some things I'd like to experience, especially since you can reference back to your previous dynamic. I think that's one conversation. And then depending on the response of your partner, the next conversation might happen right then. It might happen on another day. But I think save the, hey, let's get into the nitty gritty of here's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish for the next conversation, the second, maybe even the third, depending on, feelings and everything. But take the time to think about what you most want, what your nice to haves are, and what your, if I get it, okay, fine, but I can live without this. And that gives you a place of give and take. You won't, I don't know anything about switching. I'm not an expert. Have you ever switched?
No.
Yeah. We are not the ones to ask about how to make this work. But I think that there needs to be some room for, here's what I think I would like to have happen. And then your partner to go, here's what I would like to have happen. Here's what I'm willing to do. And then you kind of parse through and you try things a little bit at a time, assuming they're willing. And you're not going to get it right immediately. It's not going to be how you imagine immediately. And also, you may be crafting a power exchange unlike any other you've ever heard about before. Like your friends might not have this experience. The people you learn from might not have anything like what you have. And that is okay. That's the other thing I would say for both partners is to realize that you get to make this whatever you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Even if that means you throw out all labels and, in certain situations, your husband is daddy dom and in other situations, he is your submissive and y'all manage to flow back and forth. From what I have heard from other switches, no experience on my part, some people it is a flow. It's an energy, it's a mood, it's how am I feeling in this moment. For other people, it's situational. When I get into this headspace, when this thing is happening, this is the role I'm in. And then, of course, there's going to be some combination of that across the spectrum of humanity. As long as both parties are having a good time and consenting and willing to do it, there's no right or wrong. But you do have to start with the first conversation. And I think that first conversation, you talk about the good times from before, and you give your partner the opportunity to let you know if they've been missing it too. I really think a lot, especially in the solid relationships, people tend to be very surprised. They think they're the only one who wants a thing, misses a thing, needs a thing. And when you have a partner you're in tune with, they either know and they're like, oh yeah, I could tell. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Or they're like, oh yeah, me too.
I mean, from all this too, it sounds like your relationship is or at least your DS dynamic is changing, which is not a bad thing. It's not staying stagnant, which is very good.
Right.
And it sounds like this is just another step in the evolution of your dynamic and how it's going.
Absolutely. And I would take comfort in the fact that you've already made a shift once before.
Right.
I can't imagine, was that an abrupt shift? Was that a subtle shift? Was that a one day one of you woke up and went, hey, I kind of would like something different? It doesn't matter how that went. The fact that you went through it and you're still together and you're still wanting to explore things with each other, that's a good sign. You did it the one time. You've already been through that. You've already done a complete 180 on your power exchange life. You can do a subtle shifting. You are more capable than you realize. And I'm hopeful for you and optimistic that you may be pleasantly surprised at the response you get when you just talk to your partner.
There you go.
Okay, so we are not the experts on this one. If you have gone through a transition in your power exchange similar to this, if you yourself are a switch and manage the different energies, please, please, please share your experience in the comments below. We can all learn from one another. And we are not the ones who can really talk about that competently, so we're not going to try. If you have a question, like I mentioned at the very beginning, there's a link down below. please ask your questions so we can keep doing this. If you enjoy this, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And do that. Go ahead and ring that notification bell to get updates and new content.
Just do what Daddy says. And if you really like this, really like us, want to help us keep doing this, get access to Discord server, more content, all kinds of fun stuff, you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/KaylaLords. That's patreon.com/KaylaLords, or use the link in the description box.